Investiture of the Gods, Chapter 10.
The chapter itself even kicks off with this symbolic poem. It's almost like the story knows what's coming.
Like foreshadowing.
Exactly, hinting at the destiny, the fall of the Shang dynasty and the rise of the Zhou. It underlines this sense of inevitability about the path King Zhou is on.
And what a path it is. As those of you familiar with the story know, Minister Shan Rong had just recently killed himself in protest.
A really tragic act, yeah. A kind of final plea for reason.
But it seems like that defiance, however moving, just enraged King Zhou even more.
It did. But it also lit a fire under someone else, didn't it? Grandmaster Zhao Qi, he wasn't going to stay silent.
No, Zhao Qi, with this, just incredible bravery, stands up in the 9-room hall and basically unloads on King Zhou.
Right there in the main hall.
Yeah, this wasn't some quiet complaint. It was a full-on, fierce condemnation, right in the face of absolute power. It makes you wonder, what drives someone to do that?
It speaks volumes about his conviction, right, and his understanding of the principles that were supposed to govern their society. He wasn't just throwing insults.
No, it was specific.
Very specific. He was systematically dismantling the king's fitness to rule. Our sources list the accusations clearly. Unjustly orders killing his wife, the queen, mercilessly orders killing his son, the crown prince.
Awful.
And he goes on, misgoverning the country, immorally killing ministers, unclear and associating with evil, unrighteous, and greed for wine and women. But then he hits the core issues.
The really fundamental stuff.
Exactly. He slams the king for being unwise in losing the 3 cardinal guides, that's ruler, subject, father, son, husband, wife, and shameless in ruining the 5 constant virtues.
Benevolence, righteousness, propriety, wisdom, fidelity.
Those very ones. And these weren't just, nice ideas. They were the absolute bedrock of Confucian ethics, the structure of society.
The moral legitimacy of the ruler, essentially.
Precisely, the mandate of heaven. Zhao Qi was basically saying King Zhou had forfeited his right to rule by trashing these fundamental principles. It was the ultimate indictment, politically and morally.
And King Zhou's response? Predictable, maybe?
Explosive is the word. The text says his rage reached the sky, Qi Chung Yu Do. No reflection, no pause.
Just
Pure fury. He immediately orders Zhao Qi executed by the Paolao. That truly horrific bronze pillar torture device.
Right, we've encountered that before.
Yeah.
And it's brutal.
And this is where it gets, disturbing on another level. The Paolao wasn't designed for a quick death. It was pure spectacle, maximum suffering.
How did it work again?
Well, the source details are grim. Zhao Qi was stripped, bound in iron chains, and then literally roasted on this superheated bronze pillar.
Oh, God.
It describes his muscles snapped, skin charred, bones turned to smoke, and the text mentions the smoke and stench of burning flesh filling the hall.
Silencing everyone else through sheer terror.
Absolutely. Calculated cruelty. It wasn't just punishment, it was a message. A terrifying public declaration of absolute power and the cost of defiance. And there's even a poem right after, connecting this specific torture to the eventual fall of the Shang.
Sealing their fate, almost.
It feels that way. And, this event is pivotal. It shows Zhu's absolute ruthlessness, his utter lack of respect for his ministers, for human life. Warnings aren't just ignored, they're met with this unbelievable brutality.
It's that classic trap of tyranny, isn't it?
It really is. When dissent gets crushed so violently, it doesn't actually end the opposition. It just forces it underground.
And hardens the resolve for eventual revolution.
Exactly. King Zhou thinks he's consolidating power, but he's actually accelerating his own downfall by eliminating anyone who might offer a different perspective. It's self-consuming. It confirms his moral decay and just creates this climate of terror.
So Zhao Qi is executed in this horrifying way. You'd think maybe, just maybe, the king might pause, reflect, even feel a flicker of regret.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? But the narrative shows the exact opposite. His thirst for cruelty isn't satisfied. It actually seems to intensify.
He wants more ways to punish people.
Yes, anyone he sees as stubborn. And this is where Daji steps back in with her sharp, manipulative intelligence.
And she's subtle about it.
Right? Oh, very. She doesn't directly suggest more evil. That's not her style. She plays modest. Oh, I'm just a woman. My knowledge is limited.
Right.
And then she gently nudges King Zhou towards Fizong, suggesting he might have some extraordinary strategies to bring peace to the world.
Peace through terror, presumably. That's such clever manipulation. Using his own bloodlust against his enemies while she keeps her hands clean, appearing graceful.
It's a masterclass in using indirect influence, but you do wonder, was Zhu really fooled? Or was he just happy to have someone articulate his own brutal thoughts?
Yeah, he seems primed for it.
He does. And what's interesting is Zhu's immediate worry. He actually voices concern that the Eastern Grand Duke, Jiang Huanhu, might rebel.
Because of his daughter, the former Queen Jiang, who Zhu had killed.
Exactly. And he's also anxious because his best general, Grandmaster Wenzong, is away fighting in Beihai. He feels exposed.
So there's a flicker of strategic thinking there, recognizing a threat.
A flicker, yes. But it's instantly swamped by paranoia and this reliance on others for brutal, quick fixes, not real solutions. He sees the problem, but the only answer he can imagine is violence. A huge leadership failure.
And Fizong is presented as the man with the answers. He comes in, acknowledges the discontent, the risk of news getting out.
Especially to Jiang Huanhu.
And then he proposes this plan, this root and branch idea, Sinda Konchigan.
And his logic is, well, chillingly pragmatic, if completely monstrous. Cut the grass and pull out the roots. He suggests secretly summoning all 4 Grand Dukes, Jiang Huanhu from the east, Yi Changyu from the south, Ji Chang from the west, and Changhu from the north to the capital, Charge.
Okay, under false pretenses.
Completely false. The plan is, once they arrive, execute all 4 of them, then display their heads publicly.
Wow.
His argument is that if these 4 heads are gone, he uses metaphors like dragons losing their heads or fierce tigers without teeth, then the other 800 smaller dukes will be too terrified and fragmented to rebel.
So it's psychological warfare too. Shatter morale, sow distrust.
Exactly. It's designed to destroy any possibility of collective resistance, not just by removing the leaders, but by making unity unthinkable. Eliminate the real and the potential threat in one move. Create a vacuum of fear.
And King Zhu's reaction to this horrific plan.
Utter delight. The text paints him as almost overjoyed, like Fizong just voiced his deepest, darkest wish for control.
He calls him a genius, a savior of the nation.
Yes. And disturbingly, he credits Daji for recommending Fizong. It just shows how far gone he is morally. He can't tell wisdom from barbarity anymore. He's lost in cruelty and self-preservation.
It's less like he's being manipulated and more like he's being enabled.
That's a really good way to put it. Daji and Fizong are just giving structure to his own brutal inclinations. He's eagerly accepting validation for the most extreme measures.
So the monster's plan gets the green light. King Zhao sends out 4 secret decrees, and the narrative follows one envoy on that long journey west.
Heading far away from the tyranny of Cheozh.
To the domain of Ji Chang, the Western Grand Duke, Shiki.
And the contrast is immediate and powerful.
Yeah, what the envoy finds there is just worlds apart from Cheozh. The text gives us the envoy's own observations, right?
It does. It paints this vivid picture. People prosperous, goods abundant, markets peaceful, buying and selling with pleasant expressions, passersby humble and respectful.
You can almost feel the difference in the air. Calm, prosperous, respectful.
The envoy himself notes Ji Chang's benevolent rule, comparing him to the legendary sage emperors Tang and Yu. It's portrayed as this haven of peace, a stark contrast to the king's capital.
And this description, it's not just scenery, is it?
Oh no, it's crucial. It's a direct reflection of Ji Chang's character and his governance. Remember Zhao Qi complaining about King Zhu losing the cardinal guides and constant virtues?
Right.
Well, Ji Chang and Shiki embodies them. His leadership is the polar opposite of Zhu's. It sets up the coming conflict perfectly. Not just power, but ideologies clashing. Virtue versus vice.
The kind of just rule King Zhu has totally abandoned.
Exactly. He is the alternative.
And into this peaceful, well-governed land comes this decree. And the decree itself is just pure manipulation.
Masterful deception, really. Flowery language, claiming trouble in the north, Beihai.
Expressing fake worry, summoning the dukes to jointly manage state affairs and suppress chaos.
Offering false promises of rewards, even saying, I will not break my word.
That's bitter irony. It's basically a sweet-sounding invitation to a death trap.
And Ji Chang's reaction is so telling and tragic in hindsight.
How does he react?
With complete dignity and composure, he receives the decree, bows, hosts the envoy properly, and just calmly prepares to leave for the capital.
He seems completely unaware of the danger.
Ji Chang really kicks off at his palace in Shiqi. He gets this royal summons from the Son of Heaven.
A command he has to obey.
Exactly. But before he leaves, he does something pretty significant, right? It's more than just packing his bag.
He does. He performs an I Ching divination, For anyone listening who doesn't know, it's this ancient Chinese way of using hexagrams to understand cosmic patterns, predict the future, that kind of thing.
Okay.
And what's really fascinating here is how clear the reading is. It foretells 7 years of great difficulty. But, and this is crucial, it also says he will not die.
Okay. So hardship, yes, but not the end.
Exactly. It's like a preordained journey through tough times, but with a guarantee of return. He has some idea of the path ahead.
7 years. I mean, that's an eternity for a kingdom to be without its main ruler.
It's a huge amount of time.
So how does a responsible leader, prepare his realm for that, especially knowing the exact duration?
Well, he leaves pretty much nothing to chance. Chang puts his eldest son, Bo Yikao, in charge.
Okay.
And gives him incredibly meticulous instructions, like maintain the law, don't alter state policies, follow the old statutes.
Really specific.
Very specific. He stresses harmony among brothers, peace between ruler and ministers, tells them don't act on selfish motives. It shows a really thoughtful leader, someone who gets the balance needed for stability, especially when he's gone.
That kind of detailed planning, it makes you think he expects more than just a personal challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing how his compassion goes so far, even when he's facing his own crisis.
Yeah.
What does that tell us about him, about his leadership?
Well, it brings up this important question about leadership, about virtue, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Chang actually mandates these social welfare programs. Provide gold for men without wives to marry, silver for poor women delayed in marriage, monthly provisions for the isolated and helpless.
That's incredible foresight.
It reflects this almost enlightened ruler prioritizing his people's welfare, even with his own storm coming. You could almost argue that this deep compassion isn't just morally good, it's maybe necessary for destiny to unfold in these amazing ways later on, paving the way for those unexpected interventions.
And besides the policies, what specific warnings does he give his son about these 7 years?
He gives a very firm command. You must not send anyone to meet me. Don't interfere.
Right. It reinforces this idea of an unavoidable fate, something that has to run its course. Like, trying to intervene would be pointless, maybe even mess things up,
The weight of that departure, it must have been huge.
Immense.
He says goodbye to his mother, Chang, who apparently also foresaw this 7-year calamity.
Which is remarkable in itself.
And then his main consort, Ji.
Mm.
This isn't just politics, it's deeply personal, cutting himself off from his whole life.
And to really grasp the family context, the text mentions Chang has 4 main consorts, 24 concubines,
Wow.
and 99 sons already. It's 99.
Yeah. The eldest is Bo Yikao, the one left in charge. The second is Jifa, who later becomes the famous King Wu, a pivotal figure.
Okay.
And the narrative also introduces the 3 mothers of Zhu, his mother Taijian, his consort Taiji, and Ren, who's King Wu's consort. They're all called great virtuous saints.
No.
These weren't just titles. They represented these key women whose wisdom and morality were seen as vital for the Zhu lineage's stability and future. It sets up this powerful, almost sacred family line.
You can just picture it, can't you? 50 attendants, the whole court, 4 sages, 8 excellencies, these important advisors, his sons, all gathered at this 10-mile pavilion.
Big farewell.
For a 9-dragon banquet. So, kingdom secured. Goodbye is done. Chang starts the journey. He's gone about 70 li shi past Mount Qi. What's that, like 25 miles?
Roughly, yeah, about 40 kilometers.
Everything seems normal, but then he makes this uncanny prediction. It hints at his, unusual abilities.
He's on his horse, and even though his attendants see clear skies, no clouds, bright sun.
Perfect weather.
Right. He tells them, look ahead for a village or dense forest. A heavy rain is surely coming soon. His perception, or maybe his prophetic side, is just incredibly sharp. He senses things others don't.
And boy, does it come. The description in the source is amazing, almost poetic.
It really is.
Clouds rise from the southeast, mist from the northwest, then fierce winds bring cold air, and torrential rain starts. Not just rain, it says like a ladle pouring, a basin tipping over, for half an hour.
Wow.
The imagery. Jade tinkling on flower branches, pearls rolling off grass tips, mountains overflowing with 1,000 waves, valleys filled with white silk water. It sounds less like weather and more like a cosmic event.
I think that's exactly right. This description, it's more than just setting the scene. It is a cosmic event. The storm feels like this powerful, almost living thing in the story, washing the land clean, maybe purifying it for what comes next. And Chang, always perceptive, he gets his people ready for the next bit. He knows the rain isn't the end of it.
Right. After the rain, he warns them, careful, the thunder is coming. And then the sound it describes is just immense. Hard to even imagine.
Absolutely. A single, incredibly loud clap of thunder, described as shaking mountains and rivers, collapsing high peaks. The sheer force is depicted as terrifying his followers. It's clearly shown as more than just a normal storm. It's a huge cosmic signal. Something extraordinary is happening.
Then the storm passes, sun comes back, air's clean. Chang, still on his horse, wet, says another one of those cryptic things. Thunder passed, a general star has appeared. He sees something deeper in what just happened, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Yes, general star. That's a very significant term in Chinese cosmology. It implies someone destined for greatness, often a military leader, or just someone hugely important, a clear sign of an auspicious arrival.
Okay.
And he immediately orders his attendants, find me this general star. He didn't just hear thunder, he heard a celestial announcement.
His attendants must have been like, what? The text says they were laughing coldly.
Understandably bewildered.
Who's this general star? Where do we look for a star in a forest? But, you know, they obey him. He's a wise marquis.
And their search leads them somewhere really unexpected, an ancient tomb.
A tomb.
Yeah. And there they hear a child crying. They find an infant, which is just extraordinary, right? In such a desolate, weird spot, it makes you ask, is this just random chance? Or is this fate showing up dramatically, guided by Chang's insight?
They bring the baby to Chang, and he's overjoyed. The description is lovely. Face like peach blossoms, eyes shining brightly. But his joy isn't just finding a lost kid, is it? There's something deeper, more personal for him.
You're exactly right. It connects straight back to his prophecy, his family line.
Right.
He believes this child completes his destined 100 sons. Remember, he had 99.
Right, the 99 sons. So this is number 100.
Exactly. This isn't just adopting a foundling, it's the fulfillment of prophecy. A divine gift, literally rounding out his destiny. Sent by heaven. He sees it as a blessing, maybe a sign his own hardship will lead to a reward.
And he sees potential in him right away. Even as a baby, he's recognizing a future figure of importance.
Definitely. He tells his attendants to take the child to the nearest village, just for temporary care. He promises he'll come back in 7 years after his trial and take him to Shiki. And he predicts this child's fortune in the future will not be shallow. A powerful forecast for a baby found after a cosmic thunderclap. It's like the universe is setting the stage.
So Chang keeps going, just a bit past Yanshan, and meets another remarkable person, this time a Taoist priest. And this feels very deliberate, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. The description of the Taoist is striking.
Yeah.
Clean and refined demeanor, extraordinary appearance, kind of ethereal, otherworldly.
Not just some random wanderer.
No way. His presence just screams higher purpose, a connection to the heavens that fits perfectly with what just happened.
And he immediately bows to Chang, says he's Yun Zhangzi, a key cultivator from Yuzu Caves in Zhongyan Mountain. So for listeners, a key cultivator is someone who practices energy work, spiritual stuff, often aiming for immortality or special powers. Right?
Essentially, yes. A powerful, immortal figure.
So what's his mission, showing up right here, right now?
He says he traveled 1,000 lins, a huge distance, specifically to find the general star that appeared after the thunder.
Wow.
So
Okay.
this just ties everything together. The storm, finding the child, the Taoist's arrival. It's all one divinely orchestrated event. No more coincidences. It's a clear design unfolding right in front of Chang, confirming his own intuition.
So Chang, no hesitation, just hands over the baby he just found.
He does.
Which might seem quick, but given everything, the prophecy, the storm, his gut feeling, maybe it's the only logical, fated thing to do.
Precisely. And Yun Zhanzi confirms it, saying, General Star, you only now appear. It just solidifies the child's destiny, the timing of it all. It's this moment of recognition where heaven and earth meet for this baby, cementing his role in the bigger story.
And Yun Zhangzi gives the child his famous name, right? The one linking him to his arrival.
Indeed. He names him Lei Zhen, or Lei Zhenzi, as he's usually known, explaining he appeared after the thunder. Lei means thunder.
Ah, makes sense.
And he promises to raise the child as his disciple and bring him back to Chang once the Marquis finishes his 7 years of hardship.
That's quite a twist. The child of thunder, raised by an immortal, destined to reunite with Chang when he needs him most. Chang, he's the Western Grand Duke. He finally arrives at the Jintingguanyi, which is basically like a state-run guest house for top officials in Shaoxi, the capital. It's been a long trip for him, but he's there.
And he's not the first one there. The other 3 Grand Dukes are already waiting. Jang Hun-chu, he's the Eastern Grand Duke. Yi Chang-yu, the Southern Grand Duke, and Chang Hu-hu, the Northern Grand Duke. And remember, these are the 4 Grand Dukes. They're not just high-ranking officials. They're almost like semi-independent regional rulers, real power brokers outside the capital. So having them all together in the capital, it tells you this summons is serious business.
Definitely. And Ji Chang, when he joins them for drinks, he actually expresses genuine surprise that they've all been called. He asks, pretty reasonably, what urgent matter could the emperor possibly have that needs all of us here, all the way from our territories? He even points out that King Zhou already has really capable officials in the capital, people like Wu Cheng Wang Huangfei, who he calls him a pillar of the realm, and Prime Minister Bi Gan, who's known for being good at governance. It really shows Ji Chang's initial, maybe naive trust in the system. Like, he can't imagine why they'd be summoned unless there was a genuine national crisis. He's still thinking within the rules of proper government.
That's a great point about Ji Chang's character. He believes in the system, or at least, he wants to believe in it. But that sort of friendly atmosphere, the drinking, it sours really quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's striking is how fast the underlying tensions just explode. Yi Chang-yu, the Southern Grand Duke, probably fueled by wine and it seems some long-held grudges, he just launches this scathing attack on Chang Hu-hu. And this isn't just some private argument. It's a very public, pretty brutal dressing down between 2 of the most powerful men in the kingdom.
Oh, he doesn't hold back one bit. Yi Chang-yu publicly accuses Chang Hu of this whole laundry list of serious wrongdoings. He says Chang Hu is scheming with corrupt officials, Fei Zong and Yu Hun flattering the king, misleading his judgment. He talks about how Chang Hu pushed for these massive, super expensive construction projects like the infamous star-picking tower.
Right, a huge symbol of King Zhu's excess.
Exactly, and exploiting the common people for labor. The text even says 3 out of 2 men were drafted for labor. I mean, that phrasing really gives you a sense of the brutal conscription, the suffering involved. Yi Chang-yu also accuses him of bribery, enriching himself, receiving private gains and loving wealth, is the quote, and acting like a jackal and hungry tiger. Cruel, oppressive, causing thousands of households to suffer injustice. Wow.
Yeah, that public shaming using specifics like the star-picking tower, it shows his corruption wasn't exactly a secret, right? It was known. Yi Chang-yu is basically using the people suffering as a weapon here, calling him a jackal and hungry tiger. Those are incredibly harsh animalistic terms. It just exposes the deep rot within the court for everyone there to see. It's a bold move. I mean, he's risking his own neck doing this, but he's forcing the issue. It shows that under a tyrant, sometimes just speaking the truth is the most dangerous thing you can do.
And Chang Hu is, furious, completely understandable. He actually tries to physically fight Yi Chang-yu right there at the table. But Ji Chang, he's always the peacemaker, the voice of reason. He steps in. He urges Chang Hu to actually listen to the criticism, calling Yi Chang-yu's words good advice and golden words. There's quite something. He stresses self-reflection, fixing your mistakes. He's basically saying, look, if this is true, change your ways. If it's not, well, you should still try to be better. It's a moment that really shows Ji Chang's wisdom, his belief in proper conduct, even in this heated mess.
But what's really striking is how quickly it goes from verbal to physical. Yi Chang-yu may be feeling, righteous anger and definitely fueled by the wine. He doesn't back down. He actually throws a wine pot right at Chang Hu's face, hits him square on. It's just an incredible escalation, especially between men of this rank. Any pretense of decorum is just gone, shattered.
Ouch. Yeah, that's intense. Fortunately, Jang Hun-chu, the Eastern Duke, he steps in and stops it from becoming a full-on brawl. Chang Hu, totally humiliated, but maybe also a bit intimidated by the other powerful dukes there, he just retreats to his room to sleep it off. But this whole episode, it shows this deep disunity among these supposedly powerful lords. They're summoned for some urgent royal decree, but instead they're at each other's throats over personal grudges and corruption. The whole foundation of loyalty, of trust, it seems completely fractured even before they meet the king.
Totally fractured.
Yeah.
And the 3 remaining Grand Dukes, they keep drinking, but the mood is just irrevocably tense now.
Yeah.
Any illusion of unity is gone, replaced by this open hostility and the stink of corruption. It really speaks to the wider instability of King Zhu's reign, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When even his top guys are openly fighting like this.
And this is where the story takes a really chilling turn. As they're drinking, late into the night, this quiet comment from a totally unexpected source just shatters any feeling of safety they might have had left. An inattendant, a guy named Yao Fu, he mutters this chilling line, "Tonight you drink and feast, tomorrow fresh blood stains the market square."
And what's amazing here is Ji Chang's sharpness. his perception. He hears it clearly. But the other two Grand Dukes, maybe still lost in their own thoughts of the tension, they miss it. Chang's reaction is immediate and severe. It shows he instantly grasps the danger. He orders all the attendants to be executed if the person who spoke doesn't confess right away. He needs to know who said that and why. It's drastic, but it shows he understands just how ominous that statement is in this context.
Wow, that's extreme. But I guess it works because it brings out this truly devastating truth. Yao Fu, the attendant, he steps forward. The courage, or maybe just sheer desperation of this guy in that moment is incredible. He reveals this terrible secret. He doesn't just say what's going to happen, but why it matters. He says he just could not bear it and unconsciously spoke out like the moral weight was too much.
And the truths he reveals, they're absolutely shocking. They lay bare the real depravity of King Zhu's court. He confesses that Queen Chang, an innocent woman, was unjustly killed in the Western Palace, and that the two princes, her sons, were banished, or as the source puts it quite dramatically, blown away by a great wind, their fate unknown. But the most immediate, the most terrifying news for them is that King Zhu, influenced by his demon consort Daji, had secretly ordered all 4 Grand Dukes to be executed. The very next morning, no trial, no pleas allowed, just execution.
If you connect that to the bigger picture, I mean, this is the ultimate betrayal, isn't it? The king is planning a full-on purge of his most powerful vassals, influenced by his consort, by corrupt officials, completely ignoring any shred of justice or due process. It's a total breakdown of the rule of law. The crown has become an instrument of terror, of personal whim. The kingdom's foundations are literally being destroyed by its own ruler.
And this news, it hits Jiang Henshu particularly hard. He finds out in that moment that the dead Queen Chang was his own daughter. Just imagine the shock, the grief, the absolute boiling rage that must have just surged through him right then.
It's a personal tragedy piled onto the political betrayal, and the details we learn about Queen Chang's death are horrific. Her eyes were gouged out, her hands branded with hot irons. It raises this awful point, doesn't it? The extreme cruelty coming from the king's court, especially with Daji's influence. It's not just random barbarity. It feels like a calculated display of power, meant to terrify, to crush any opposition, to show absolute, unrestrained authority.
Exactly. And Jiang Henshu is, well, understandably, he's just overcome. He collapses. The source describes his state so vividly, his heart shattered like a knife, his mind tormented like oil fried. It really conveys that raw, visceral pain. A father learning his child suffered such a horrific end. Yet what's fascinating, even now, is Chang's pragmatism. He acknowledges the terrible loss, the suffering, but he immediately urges a strategic united response. He suggests preparing memorials, formal petitions to present to the king, hoping maybe they can still distinguish right from wrong, rectify human relationships. He's still clinging to this tiny sliver of hope that reason, the system, might somehow prevail.
But Jiang Henshu, fueled by that raw grief, the father's need for answers, maybe vengeance, he insists on facing the king alone. To plead his daughter's case directly, he just can't bring himself to join a group petition when his own daughter has been murdered so brutally. His personal emotional conviction just overrides Chang's pragmatic advice. And the others, they agree to submit their own memorials separately. They respect his decision, maybe. Or maybe they realize rational arguments are pointless in a court that's gone completely mad.
Right. So while the Grand Dukes are preparing these pleas, hoping for justice, the focus shifts. We see this truly insidious figure, Fei Zong, one of the corrupt ministers, advising King Zhu. And this guy isn't just taking advantage of this situation, he's actively shaping the tyranny.
And his advice is just chilling. It's like a masterclass in ruthless politics. Fei Zong tells King Zhu, look, anticipate these memorials from the Grand Dukes. Don't even read them. Just execute them immediately. He calls it the best strategy. He's not just corrupt, he's actively setting up murder and injustice, making sure there's zero chance for dissent, not even a chance to be heard. He's deliberately cutting the king off from any possible accountability.
And this tells you so much about King Zhu himself. He doesn't just accept this unbelievably cruel advice, he seems to relish it. It shows his complete disregard for justice, for due process, for anything beyond his own power. It really demonstrates his terrifying descent into absolute tyranny. His word is law, and any challenge, any question is met with brutal, preemptive violence. He's become a puppet, really, to his own worst impulses, egged on by these manipulative advisors.
So the next morning arrives. Heavy with dread, you imagine. The 4 Grand Dukes are summoned to court. The tension must have been just thick enough to cut with a knife. We know, because of Yao Fu's warning, what's likely coming. But for those dukes walking into court, this moment is filled with terrifying uncertainty. It's their last chance, maybe, to appeal to a king who seems to have completely lost his way.
And what really shows incredible courage here is Jiang Henshu. Despite knowing about his daughter, knowing the immense danger, he steps forward immediately, presents his memorial, directly confronts the king. He doesn't hesitate. His grief seems to have hardened into this defiant resolve.
And what a confrontation. King Zhu just immediately accuses Jiang Hongqiu, doesn't even pretend to read the memorial. But Jiang Hongqiu gives this powerful, defiant speech right back at him. He denies any crime, insists he's been loyal to the East, then he flips it. He accuses King Zhu of listening to slander, of neglecting his queen, torturing her, destroying his own family line. He points straight at King Zhu's obsession with the demon concubine Daji, listening to sycophantic ministers. He says he's speaking out because of loyalty to the previous king, that he's not afraid to die, and that it's the king who has wronged him, not the other way around. It's this last, desperate, but incredibly grave act of speaking truth directly to absolute power.
And it raises that critical question, doesn't it, about the limits of free speech, the limits of justice under a tyrant. King Zhu's reaction is instant and absolutely merciless. He just calls Jiang Hongqiu an old rebel, doesn't address a single point Jiang Hongqiu made, refuses to hear anything that challenges his absolute authority. It's the ultimate sign of a ruler rejecting all counsel, all accountability.
And the execution, it's horrific, leaves absolutely no doubt about the king's monstrous turn. King Zhu orders Jiang Hongqiu to be torn apart and minced into paste at the Meridian Gate. That's the main southern gate of the palace complex, a very public place used for proclamations, for executions like this, meant to be seen, Jiang Hongqiu's last moments, spent cursing the king, a defiant end for a loyal servant or grieving father. It's just this visceral, brutal reminder of the ultimate cost of speaking truth to power when power has become absolute.
So the king has just brutally executed one of his most powerful lords in the most public, gruesome way imaginable. It sends this chilling, unmistakable message: question me, and this is your fate. And now, the reigning three, Ji Chang, Yi Changyu, and Chonghu, they step forward with their memorials. Their lives are literally hanging by a thread. King Zhu has already ignored pleas, ignored reason, ignored justice. The kingdom was already teetering, but now it feels poised right on the brink of something profound, something irreversible.